entertainment part. It's actually entertaining.
So, we're talking about the 100th monkey and what, now they have mathematical formulas. What is a critical mass, they say. Before I didn't know there was an actual number.
Wow.
But there's a calculated number now that can be used to have world peace, which is the most common theme that many of us talk about. You know, if we can't have peace. Peace starts at home, personal peace. First you gotta be peaceful within yourself and then
That's true.
commit to world peace. So, have a little, from the Dream for Peace project, which was based on the 100th monkey theory, if everyone were to go to bed and focus on peace for just 30 seconds before they go to bed, or even longer would be better, but even just 30 seconds, thinking every night, and if there was a collective mass of us doing that, then we could achieve peace. So peace begins at home. We are talking about personal peace. Without personal peace, there can be no world peace. First, we must dream for our own peace. It is our intent to promote personal peace. It is our intent to make peace a reality here on earth right now. So I may have heard this a lot. There's nothing but the present moment. The past moment doesn't exist, and the future moment doesn't exist. Just this very moment. So that is a mind-blowing concept sometimes, but also very simple at the same time. It makes complete sense. So that's going to be our first question. How often do you take out to be in the now?
Wow.
Problem is too much all the time in the now, and I never get to where I want to be in the future because I'm always thinking in the now. And if you're not putting down your thoughts and your intentions on paper or in a notepad, then you forget what they are because you're always concerned with what's going on immediately around you. And I think that people spend too much time in the now, not realizing that what you're doing now will dictate where you end up in the future. So I think that putting a lot more stuff down on paper is going to help you dictate what your future is based on what you're doing in the now, but you really have to tie the two together and follow your path to where your goals are. Using what's going on now, but keeping an eye on what's going on in the future at the same time. You can actually see the future in the now, and get to it eventually. But it takes a lot of practice.
Morris?
How often do I practice? Well, obviously daily. Mostly when I'm driving. I love to just be present when I drive. I think it's like you're floating. I love driving now. And it's, what's really hard is multitasking at work now. Because I want to be just focused on one thing, and I'm noticing now that my brain can't comprehend doing a million things at once. I have to focus on one thing. So for me to think about what's going to happen later or what just happened, I can't do it. It's just that one thing. I don't. It's a full-time process. But once you are able to achieve living just in the present, it's actually a lot more peaceful, I think. You're not worried about things.
Michael, how about you?
I kind of struggle with being in the now. I've got so much clutter going on in my brain. Thinking about the past, haunted by the past, worried about the future. I'm surprised I can even drive my car sometimes in the now. In fact, sometimes I try to drive in the future because I drive too fast.
Get a DeLorean.
Officer, you have to follow that with officer. But, I think I struggle with that. My mind doesn't want to be still enough to be in the now, to think in the now. It's something that, Susan and I have talked about it, and it's something that I need to learn how to do. And probably the reason why I can never really calm down and be quiet, because my mind is somewhere else. Of course, that happens with old age too. They call it dementia. But I have trouble with that.
So for me, it's hard to remain in the present moment, because I too am always either thinking about the past or the future, what I have to do, and so I learned from an old teacher that your body is really the only thing that's in present time, and so to be able to be in present time, you have to really be embodied. And so for me, practicing grounding, trying to become embodied is a huge part of being in the now. So how often do I do it? Not often enough. So I need to work on earthing, need to work on grounding, and that's some of my goals. So.
Well, I just went through the awakening process in India about a month ago. Before that, I don't think I was in the present moment, hardly ever. Because the mind just goes on and on and on. I knew in India that I had the shift in my brain of awakening, because I, all of a sudden, just like being with a tree, was so beautiful to me. And I thought I had experienced that before. I mean, I meditated for years, and I thought I'd been in that present moment, but experiencing that actual neurobiological shift in my brain made it so clear to me what a beautiful shift it was, especially for myself, because the smallest moments became so joyful. And, having a conversation with one person, I felt like 100% present for the first time in my life. So now I experience it a lot, but it's from the grace of God that I do, because it's not something I did. So I'm blessed.
Beautiful. Yeah, being in the now is something I contemplate a lot, and when you can get into that moment, even if you're eating something, you just really taste and enjoy every morsel of that moment. If you're listening to the birds chirp or feeling the wind on your face and you're just really feeling it in that moment, there's such a feeling of gratitude. There's no worries, because it can be worrying when you're experiencing. So I keep echoing in my head, be here now, be here now, be here now. So I think we have heard that from another well-known author, Eckhart Tolle. So I think it's not a new concept, but it's an important one, being in the now. You're listening to the 100th Monkey Show. This is our first broadcast where we are asking questions to the group here. We have no video for you today, just audio, but you will be hearing questions and answers. So we just had a question about being in the now, and now we're moving on. Do you believe in a universal higher power, God, or something like that?
Am I always the first one to go? Break the ice for everybody. Of course, there's got to be something. Well, let's put it this way: there's something a lot more powerful than me, and more powerful than the earth and the sun, because it all is interconnected. So there's a lot of power when you talk about out there. Now, as far as whatever you want to call it, of course, I feel there has to be some sort of organization. But I haven't been able to fathom it yet. I mean, people believe in God because it's the easiest thing to do. We can personify it, makes it a little bit easier to digest than trying to put it grasp the size of the universe and the solar system and everything that's around it and where it started and where it's going. To me, it's just too much for my mind to put into place. So I try to break it down, and instead of looking at how large something is, I look at how small things are, because everything is built around the molecular level. Everything out there in the universe started from supposedly a Big Bang, but it started on with a few elements, and those elements created other elements. So if you go back as far in time to the original helium, hydrogen, whatever it was, that was the first few atoms in the beginning of time. That's where you want to start looking at some sort of higher power. Is in the atom. It's inside of the creation of matter, and I think that's where I like to look towards it. Not out in the outside giant world, but inside of our own world is built on the atom and how that was created. And if you can figure that out, it might give a little broader explanation of what the rest of the universe is. So something had to create it. If it came out of nothing, wow, that's pretty good. But who did? It's not you can't say who or he or she, because that's a personification of something that's, and we're only just a tiny speck of humans on this earth. So there's a lot out there that beyond my job description. So I'll pass this one off to the next one. Lord.
I definitely do believe in a divine grace. That, I mean, I'm living proof that there's someone out there watching out for me. I'm so very blessed. If you'd asked me a year ago, I would have told you I didn't believe in God. There was no way. But going through everything that I've been through in my transformation in my life, and how grace has just stepped in and pulled me from darkness and shown me the path to my true self, and helped me overcome some very, very deep struggles. I know that, there's something there that is definitely on my side and loves me and embraces me and will continue to guide me on my path.
Again, I have to think that I'm really not sure, and that's unusual. But if I'm going to be authentic, I have to say that. I mean, I'm a preacher's kid. I was raised in a church.
Mm-hmm.
I had God shoved down my throat, and He was a very vengeful, mean, jealous God, and I was afraid of Him. And now that I'm older, I look back on that, and my conceptualization of God is completely different. It's a God a God of creation, a God of love, a God of everything but jealousy and punishment and all these things that I grew up in fear of God. I don't think we should fear God. We should honor God, respect God, and know that there is a higher power there, and I do believe that there is a higher power. To think that all of this just happened without some ordained direction is like trying to get a Webster's dictionary out of an explosion in a typesetting factory. I mean, it's hard to conceptualize, but believing that there's a God and thinking that it's the way most people see God are two different things. And my thoughts of God are 180 degrees from where they were when I grew up. So I like my version of God now, and since I feel that God is within us all, that gives more respect to it, because then I have to like myself in order to appreciate and understand God. So it's not traditional thinking, but it makes sense.
Thank you.
I believe that God is one with our minds, which is connected to everything. In fact, I believe God can be found in miracles too. Anything divine can be found in that 90% of our brain that we're not using, which maybe gets activated in times of crisis or when it's needed by whatever reaction in our bodies. And that's when you see the angels. That's when you get those answers. So I think it's so far beyond what we have found in science right now, but we will. So I think that really God just is part of us, and it's there whenever we need it or whenever we call on and we see that because it manifests in our life as signs, or as people would call them, miracles. That it always appears. So that's my view.
Well, I'm in a little bit of a quandary about what I think about God right now. Because my experience, I would say God is like a divine intelligence that animates everything. And I've experienced that as love. But there's this notion that I'm being taught right now that I'm struggling a bit with, and that is that in some sense we have the power to create our God. Meaning that I'm imagining God as this formless kind of being, and that if we put thoughts into that form, that God is judging and jealous and wrathful and hateful, kind of like you were talking about, that's how God will show up, and God does show up that way for I think people that see God that way. And then there's others that see God as this all-loving, beautiful energy that takes us through each moment in our day, and it gives meaning to each moment. And if we see God that way, I think that's how we experience God. So, it's interesting because it seems like we have so much to do with how God shows up for us, and it gives us a lot of the power in how God shows up in our lives. So that's kind of a concept that I'm really contemplating a lot lately.
I'd like to just throw a little bit, kind of adding what Susan was talking about is as humans, we're the only animals that I know on this planet that actually make altars to a higher being.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see, as far as I know, I don't see other animals, other plants, anything else that seems to have some sort of divine altars that they're doing. Only humans have created this thing. So she said, you create your own God in the way that you feel is a loving being, because we're trying to rationalize our existence, because we're one of the few animals that I know of, if any, that can rationalize who we are and where we are, and create things that other animals don't because of our minds. And I think that is like even Bridget was talking on, that 90% of the brain that we're not using. I think we're going back inside ourselves to find our God, in parentheses, versus who created the universe, who created elements and all of that. That is, to me, two different things that people are trying to combine the two. You've got something had to create it, but it's too hard to comprehend for just about anybody. So they try to do it more internally with themselves and look at the earth around them. So yeah, you're going to have the duality of a creator of the universe and then somebody you create within yourself. And they both can be God if you want. Try to figure that out.
I just have to share for a minute why I was laughing, because I don't want you to think I was laughing at you.
That wasn't a funny thing anyway.
But I was actually talking about, I don't think you were there at the table it was a little while ago. I was talking about in India. They shared a number of stories about these animals that would show up in temples in India and actually behave in ways that was really inarguable, that they were worshiping. And that was mind-boggling to me. I mean,
But do they have it on video? Do they actually have something?
Yes.
They weren't smoking anything that the animals got whiff of or anything like that?
I saw this on video. I mean, seriously, a turtle, a snail, and a monkey.
And that's just in India, nowhere else.
Was it
No.
worshiping or honoring?
You
I
have to
don't
think that
know.
in India they have they're so connected to the divine right now, and everything's
Yeah.
going
That's
on.
a turtle.
Of course it would be in India.
I mean,
How does what does a turtle do?
Well, if you think about it, and that's why I was the idea that if God is this intelligent source that animates all, let's just pretend for a
Energy,
moment
yeah,
that it
energy.
animates me, you, the turtles, the monkeys, the snails. I'm not suggesting that the snail or the monkey or the turtle is actually thinking it through, but that the God in them somehow
Yeah, an
is
energy
actually
attracted them.
pulling them
Yeah,
to
yeah.
express what appears to be worship or whatever you want to call it. I mean, they're doing these activities, which we as humans, if we did them, we would be worshiping our God. So, I mean, it was mind-boggling.
That was
to
cool.
see.
So,
It was
you know,
very
I would
cool.
love to see something like
It
that
was really
because I'm
cool.
always trying to figure out
Yeah.
why are we the only animals that can do these things
Yes.
and have, you know, created buildings and vehicles and
Yeah.
anything else, and we have to rationalize everything that we do. Other animals just do it instinctively. So is this an instinctive thing that they're doing? Like birds, they do this instinctive thing. They'll find their way home after thousands of miles of flying, and the same thing with the salmon. But those are, I think, ingrained over millions of years of natural selection, things like
Right.
that. And
Yeah,
the same
these
thing.
were really unique.
That sounds pretty wild,
situations.
you
It
know.
was really cool.
So I mean, I would love to see you go down to church one day. The bells ringing, and all the animals come walking out and hanging up, going up the stairs.
You got monkeys
I
outside
mean-
giving pictures.
But eventually, you know, they'll only come out on Christmas and Easter. They'll get tired of it. So, well, that's something we're gonna have to look into.
At least you don't have to dress up for it.
I can
That's
start-
right, they can come as they are.
Thank you for sharing on that. We're gonna go in reverse order this time.
Uh-oh.
What do you think is more important, money, power, or freedom?
Freedom. I mean, freedom. That was very easy for me.
I know. I could have that one first.
Yeah, I mean, money, you know, money's a lovely thing. And power, I don't even know really what that means to me. I truly don't. At this juncture in my life, do I wield any power? I guess I do with my mind. So, you know, and I have the freedom to use it. So, definitely freedom. It's a no-win, a no, what's that?
No brainer.
No-brainer, thank you.
I think it's kind of more of a subjective thing based on your current circumstance. I mean, if you're sitting in jail and you have, you know, everything provided, but you don't have freedom, you know, of course that's going to mean a lot. But if you have all the freedom in the world, yet you have, what were the other ones, like money and power? And let's say you had, you know, no power because you were, let's say, just one of many wives to like a powerful man, you know, that's something maybe that you would want to experience. Because maybe you had all the freedom, but maybe they're not separate for people. So for me, I think that they're just different energies based on a perspective that you're going through that you have at the time. So
Makes sense.
For me, it's easy peasy, to quote a technical term. I'm reminded of a line from one of my favorite movies, Braveheart. Freedom! That was the most important thing. Money can buy power, power can get money, but nothing can get freedom. I mean, that's something that, it's like a gift. It's, you miss it when it's gone, but you take it for granted when it's there. But for me, it would be a no-brainer. It would be freedom.
I would definitely have to say freedom. I did a process the other day, and I learned about how most people, they live backwards. Have, do, be. They have to have something in order to do the things they want in order to be happy. And if we just lived from be, do, have, we would have everything. If we would just be happy, do what we want, then we would have everything. And if you think about it, you know, if we would just be happy in the moment, it wouldn't matter what we're doing. It wouldn't matter if we have money. It wouldn't matter if we live in a box. You know, it doesn't matter if we have all the power in the world. It doesn't matter if we're being controlled all the time. As long as we have the freedom of mind and the freedom to escape from our mind, and just enhance our life spiritually, then I don't think anything else matters.
could that also say that you have power over your mind, though? Power over your life or your circumstances?
Yes, I mean, you may not have power over your life, though. You may be completely controlled. You may be locked up in a little tiny place and fed, you know, a little plate through a little hole. You never know. But as long as you're able to escape and have freedom to, you know, just release yourself from all of that, then you're okay. it won't matter what your circumstances are.
So you're saying which is more important?
Mm-hmm. Money, power, freedom.
But they're three totally different levels. I mean, you can't really compare the three because they're not interchangeable. They're not on the same plane. Money is just an object to transfer wealth from one place to another, to purchase things. It's just a means. It's a tool. Power. I really probably wouldn't want power. I don't mind having authority sometimes. Power can be dangerous, and I think in most people's hands, I think it's too dangerous. I mean, you can get a nice 400 horsepower car. It's great to have the power, but it can be dangerous to those that don't know how to use it. So I'm thinking, if I want to have it, if I had the money to buy the powerful car, that'd be great. But you want to have the freedom to get on the road and do 100 miles an hour, but you can't because of the laws. So start with the freedom, like everyone says. You get your freedom. I've been broke and I've been down on my luck quite a few times, but I did have a lot of freedom at the time. I wasn't working. I retired for a little while until I ran out of money, so I had to go work again. And it was the best time I felt mentally and physically better than I had when I was working. Because when you're working, you can have all the power in the world over employees. You can have all the money coming in, but you have no freedom, and your life is strained and stressed. And I think freedom is good, but too much freedom leads to anarchy. So you have to have someone with power to keep you guys in control, and make sure you guys can, as a person, individual, take the freedom. Know what it is, like Mike said. You don't realize it when you have it, but you definitely miss it when it's gone. Just remember that when people start taking away your freedoms for their power, don't let them, because I tell you, it's up to you to keep the other people from getting too much power. There's nothing wrong with having some power to keep everybody in line, but I think everyone having the right freedom and knowing how to use the freedom is more powerful than money. There you go.
That's a good segue into my next question. Are you happy with the current state of the nation or world affairs?
Politics.
Wow.
Oh boy.
So soon.
Where
Are we
going-
still to reverse
where are we
order?
going with that?
Yeah.
Oh my.
That.
Am I happy? Actually, I'm gonna take this in a different place.
It's fine.
I'm not gonna go
There's no
political
rules.
with this at
This
all.
is stream of consciousness, no rules.
So I am very happy because we have just entered the golden age. And in my experience, what I have learned in the last several months about what that means for us as a planet is mind-boggling. It is so beyond what I could ever have dreamed for us. So I am literally so grateful to even be here at this moment. And to know what I really believe we as a planet are going to experience in the next year, 2 years, let's say, it may take a decade to fully play out. So am I happy? Oh my God, I'm overjoyed, because I really believe that I've been waiting lifetimes to actually be here, right now, as we enter this golden age, and I think things are going to be so unbelievably, astoundingly beautiful that I just am sitting back and going along for the ride. I'm psyched.
Thank you. That is so awesome that you put that out there like that. I see a lot of blue energy just floating all around.
Cool.
So that's awesome. Yes, it's all in your perspective, and I like that perspective that you brought.
Thank you.
Yeah, I agree with Susan. I mean, I'm happy too. I think happiness is a choice, and so it's, you can choose to look at the world as a really horrible, dark place, or you can look at things that are always in motion. They're always changing, and so that's the dynamics of life. You have this sort of oscillating flow of energy. It's good, it's bad, but it's only good and bad if you put energy into it being good and bad. It can always be great and happy if you want it to be, if you can see the silver lining. And so, there's great opportunities on the horizon. I mean, even more so than that are occurring right now. I really believe that there's so much change, good change happening right now, that it's such an exciting time. Like Susan said, to be around, I mean, just to be in the middle of it, so to witness it. So, yeah.
What was the question again? No, I'm just kidding. So one of the things I avoid, kind of like going to the strip on a Saturday night, is talking about politics. Because there's so much fear out there right now. Fear of the people who have the power and the money, that they'll take our freedom. And there's such a buildup of negative energy among certain segments of the population because of that, and the people that are buying the guns and the bullets and hoarding food and all these other things because they're afraid of what the people with power in the current administration is going to do. And you know, it's like this is the first time this has ever happened in the history of the world. You know, all of this is just repeating itself. Fear is always there. People with power and money are always there. This current administration is not doing anything that any other administration hasn't done. It's just more publicized and more open and more accessible for people to see. It's the fear that I think is what's the problem, not who is pushing the buttons in the administration, but the fear that the people have of what buttons they're going to push and how they're going to affect their freedoms. So I really don't want to get into personalities and such in the administration, but I think that we can pull away from that and still, like everyone has said so far, have happiness within ourselves, regardless of what happens out there. Because what's going to happen out there is going to happen regardless of what we say or do. It's how we react to it that's important. So I'm not going to talk about the politics of it, but I'm not afraid of it, although I did go through a time when I was. And once I shed a lot of that paranoia, then I realized this is the same thing that's been going on since the creation of man. I mean, this is just, it's the way the mind of man takes these things and tries to control other men with it. And we have control of ourselves, and that's what we need to relish in. That's what we should embrace, is what we can do because we have the freedom to do it.
Thank you very much.
I would be the worst person to talk to about politics ever. And that's only because I've made the personal choice to not watch TV for almost 2 years or look on the internet and what's going on. So, you know, people probably, you know, will ridicule me for that and think that I'm being naive or, you know, choosing to hide from it. But it's not. I don't want to put the energy on it. I don't want to put the energy on the, you know, the media and the negativity that they spin on these things and this president's doing this or this is happening. Or to me, it's just focusing on my growth and the growth around me. And as we all shift, everyone around us is going to shift. And in time, when, as a collective, as we all change, all of it will go away. And we'll all be at peace. So why put energy on anything negative when we just need to focus on, you know, the positive. So as far as anything that's political going on, I have no clue.
Amen.
Well, you did mention, you know, the geopolitical, I believe that's what you said, in the world today, what's going on. And I sleep with one eye open, if I have to. 9/11, you know, you got to look at what happened since then and what's been going on, and that's something that really a lot of people really need to be keeping an eye on, and what's going on in the rest of the world. We're a small community, the enlightened people that really understand life and how to better themselves, but that's just a small percentage of the population. And although Susan did touch on it, that there is a golden age, the age of communication, the internet, and what we're doing now. Broadcasting could be technically listened to by millions of people. So the collective consciousness that we've got as a small group can be at least put some of that positive energy out there in the world. So we have the way of changing, but it's hell out there, to be honest with you. I'm a businessman, and I've seen people lose a lot of money, myself included, based on what's been going on in society. So it's real. It's happened, and I don't have TV for years, but I keep an eye on what's going on out there, and I can actually choose to see what's out there by looking into certain locations. So I am concerned with what's going on for my children and what they have to deal with going on, because it's not going to be an instantaneous enlightenment. It's not going to happen that way. You've got how many billions of people on this earth? Most of them have no clue what they're doing every day from day to day. They just listen to the masses. They listen to their imams and politicians, and people just tell them what to do. And they're sheep. There's a lot of sheep in this world. And it's been, just looking at, I'll just tell you about the last 2 elections. A lot of sheep, no idea what's going on out there. They just do what people tell them to do. And I think it's up to us to change minds, and we got to do it fast. If we don't, you're going to have some hell to pay. Someone's going to. And that's just the way it is in reality out there. And that, I'm not talking about even the politics of it, just the population is at butting heads all over the world. At the same time, we're trying to get along, and like she said, you can hide from it and you can isolate yourself from it and make yourself feel better. But that's not going to help change the world on a larger scale. But what Susan's talking about, I think the collective consciousness that we can do, we've got to do something, because if we don't, the evil will take over. And we don't want evil to take over. And human nature is, to me, geared towards that. Most human nature is for power and money. And the ones that don't want you to have the freedoms are the ones that want the power and the money. They take away one to get the other. So sleep with one eye open.
I just want to jump in, because just remember what the name of our meetup is. I mean, it's the 100th monkey, and I think that's what we're saying is that there's a certain number, of us that have to know this truth of what we want to create for the world. And when we reach a pivotal number, whatever that is, and I don't know the number, then it's all over.
The turning point, the pivotal
It's
point.
over.
Yeah.
I mean, so being positive, keeping perspective, doing our work, and growing to this pivotal number, it won't matter. It won't matter what the rest of humanity is like, because truly the truth of us all is love. The truth of us all is good. We're just not seeing that expressing. But when this number reaches this pivotal point, it'll be over. And I mean, that's why we're here. That's why I'm doing the work. It's not just so I feel good. I'm here to make this happen. So I just have a much more positive view.
Oh, I have a positive view of the future, but the immediate future is, you've got to go to hell before you get to heaven.
Yeah, but
And
if you put
that's,
energy on it, it's like the law of attraction.
Yeah.
You put energy,
Mm-hmm.
even thought into negativity of what could possibly happen, you're calling it. You're calling it to happen. So why put it out
Yeah,
there?
I don't think we
Just
have to
put-
go to hell. to
yeah,
get
just
to
put-
heaven. We're on our way.
I'm sure there were enlightened people on in the Twin Towers at the time, and they probably felt the same as you, but
That
looking
was
out the
it.
window.
Yeah, but that
So
was-
I'm just saying that there's stuff out there that is happening immediately as we're talking
Well,
now.
you can be aware of it, but hold the space, keep a positive
Yeah.
outlook,
Okay.
and know.
This is
Yeah, we
not to gang up on anyone. So
No, this is
no,
important.
It's conversation.
Because I wouldn't be here if it weren't for some sort of divine intervention, because I have a feeling that I'm on this earth for some reason, and hopefully it's a good thing. It's a positive
I completely
thing.
respect the views
And
you share. You understand.
Oh,
I'm
I
not
understand
being-
exactly.
Yeah, I'm
And
not
like I
being-
said, I play both sides
Okay, good.
of an issue.
he's
just
actually
to
serving he's.
I think
It's
so
good.
too.
And I think
Absolutely.
because-
It's
I
wonderful.
You know-
really appreciate this conversation. It's really
Yeah.
great.
You're serving a purpose. Isn't it great to feel like I've served too many purposes in my life, I can tell you.
Yeah, I'll tell you that too. But I want a good purpose. It feels good. It feels good to really get out and talk to people of the same thing. And the Son of Monkey, I actually told Bridget I want to come to this. I want to see what this is about. I want to know. Now that I know what the 100th Monkey is, now I remembered. I've always been reading about this awareness, the 5,000-year leap, things like that. That you have this awareness in as human beings. So yeah, in the long term, I think there's some great things that we can do utilizing technology that we were given and we created. At the same time, there's others going to use it against it. So, and that's not whether my mind is there or not. That's just a given. That's happened throughout history, throughout millenniums.
Right.
Good always wins out over evil, I feel. So, but we need a lot more powerful good because there's a lot more people on the earth, and there's a lot more people you have, the more on the opposite side that are going to try to take it from you.
Well, you spoke of technology, and that is one of the beautiful things that we can use now to accelerate the message, like we're doing here, talking today. You know, this is our first broadcast, but our intention is to have this be a global reach, reaching thousands, millions of people. You know, we hear so many things in the media, again, about fear and power and money and greed, and a lot of that gets thrown at us. I don't watch television either, like Lauren. However, I do, as a media person, know somewhat of what's going on. I don't get into the details, but yeah, we can make a difference. I mean, that's the bottom line. So we create a reality, however you want to put it, law of attraction, calling, magnetism, opposites attract, you know, the pull of the earth. There's all different ways you can approach it, scientifically, spiritually, emotionally, you know. So we have one more question for the evening, and then we will adjourn. Since this is being presented by the Dream Society, one of the vehicles in which to spread the 100th monkey or to influence the collective consciousness is through our dreams. And I've heard that as we move into this golden age, that dreams will become a very important form of communication, sort of a sense of telepathy amongst us, and lucid dreaming. So, the last question of the evening is, do you believe your dreams have importance?
Wow, dreams are always important, I feel. But there's got a lot of different things to take apart out of a dream. 90% of my dreams are really just a piecemeal of what happened in my life the last few days. I've actually written down some of my dreams and talked about my dreams. And the big chunk is just your body needs to sleep and rest and take in everything that you've or digest everything you've taken in on a daily basis, because your brain is subconscious is taking in so much more than you actually realize you are, and it's trying to put it into little categories to so you can pull it back up later, all the memories. And you dream about people that you've seen, animals, places you've been the last few days, and they all end up just being thrown together in my mind, and I have a dream about all those things combined, which is really boggling. But then there's a small percentage of my dreams that I feel are a second universe, a parallel universe. There are people in there that are my best friends in the dream that I wake up and I've never met these people in my life in my reality. But they're out there in my dreams, and they're just normal dreams, not scary ones. I'm just going about everyday business, going from a town into a house, into a boat in the same dream with the same people and different people. And I haven't really figured out what that's all about. So I feel there's got to be something out there in the subconscious. And it doesn't have to be while you're sleeping in dreams. It could be while you're awake. I definitely have some connection with my family members. I think about certain people, and you don't have to be dreaming to do it. You do have to be in a certain conscious state, or unconscious or semi-conscious, whatever it is, but you can definitely communicate in that realm. I've talked about my son and thought about him, and I get a text immediately from him. I'll ask a question to somebody, and something will come by, and I'll see it in my mind. So there are some. I don't just consider dreams. I think dreams is easy to talk about stuff like happening there, but I think that you can do a conscious tunneling of ideas to people. If you really have to be focused, and you definitely have to be in some sort of state of mind. But I think there's a lot of potential in there, and very few people can harness it yet.
Mm-hmm.
I have to agree, but I don't think that I was in any sort of state of conscious that I was aware of. In my last relationship, I noticed that we were so connected. Just, I don't know, the connection was so intense that we had a meditation one time, and I couldn't get in the gate, and all of a sudden I get this text message that says, "You can't get in the gate code's this." And I'm just like, huh? How did you know? Well, he heard me. He heard Lauren can't get in the gate. And then another time I was sleeping, and he would hear me. And at one point in time, we got into an argument, and I went to sleep. And I woke up from a nightmare, and I get this phone call. And he's like, your thoughts are waking me up.
No.
So it was the craziest thing. I'm like, well, I miss you too. Okay.
They were good thoughts.
Yeah, but it's I think you can connect with people through your dreams. I really do. I think it's an amazing experience if you can. And that's just a few times that I've had it actually happen to me, whether I've been awake or asleep. But I think it's a great way for us to connect with those that are either here in physical form or not here. And anything that you if you just write down your dreams and you take a look at them, you'll actually learn a lot about yourself and what's going on with you inside and what you need to contemplate on and actually sit with and release. So I think dreams are absolutely beautiful.
It's kind of an interesting topic for me, as my wife could attest. A couple of years ago, I started a story which I got about 30,000 words into about dreams. And, I used to think that dreams were our way of working out our issues that our brain can't otherwise work out, and our subconscious comes in and says, okay, this goes here, and this goes here, and here's a lesson, dummy, now pay attention. And then I thought it might just be something that my body was trying to digest and get through my system, and so it gave me another little type of dream. But there's this other dream, this one that connects us to the universe, and that's the one that I wrote about in my little manuscript that I really should finish that, that connects us to ourselves in other parallel universes and parallel worlds. And while we're having these dreams and seeing these people that we know them, but yet we've never met them, and they're over there, and they're having dreams about us, and that's how we live forever. And this was the thrust of my book that I was attempting to write.
Wow.
Our dreams connect us with multiple universes and multiple dimensions and multiple worlds and timelines. And time is meaningless. We put a beginning and end on it. But time is always moving.
Yes.
And our dreams can transport us back and forth through that timeline, through multiple worlds and multiple lives, all going on at the same time, because time is something we created. So these things are all going on, past, present, future, multiple locations, and our dreams, that one level of dream, that soul level of dreaming, connects us all at the same time. And we're connected with, there's another Michael in this universe. Maybe he's a little bit older, can't be much older, but maybe he's a little bit younger. and we're all communicating. And my dreams are coming from me and other places. And they're dreaming about me here and in other places. And we're all connected. And that's how our soul lives on, and we live forever. And that was the gist of my book. But dreams have always been a really sensitive topic of mine.
I love that. Are you going to finish that book? Or?
I have to now. I've said it out loud.
I'm really fascinated by that. So thank you.
It sounds like an interactive video game where the kids, you ever watch those interactive video games where people from all over the world are playing at the same table, and they each have their own characters, and you can play with your character and see it doing something else, and someone else is doing their character in the same theater. And it almost sounds similar to what's going on in our minds. And I think, like you said, with technology combining that, there may be a way to enhance that in everybody's mind.
And they can help you work out your issues too, because they're you. But they have different experiences.
Yeah.
So they can come
So
in
you
at
had that
soul
dream.
level.
I've had the same dreams I've had. You go into another world that you're just as if you belong there. But you wake up like, what was I doing there? Who were those people? And who was my girlfriend in that dream? Because I wake up and it's a different one. So, so it's.
Well, I thought you returned.
Now see, I wasn't going to go there.
Segue to Bridget now.
Your turn. Speaking of, no, I totally agree. I think that dreams really do connect you to the multiverse, as they say, which is, dreams come from your subconscious mind, which I think is the 90% of the brain that isn't always active, but it creates everything. It's connected to everything. And I don't ever remember my dreams ever. It's very, very rare when I do. So I used to have a much different opinion on dreams until, actually I'll tell a quick story. Last week I was out with Michelle and Joyce and Caitlin, they're not here right now, but hi guys. Hopefully they'll make it next time. But we were downtown and we had witnessed a cat get run over. And
This is real life now. This isn't a
this
dream.
is a real life. This is
Okay.
not a dream, but this actually happened. And so we, were with the cat, and we tried to save it, but it didn't make it. But it triggered something inside of me. And so that night, actually the following morning, I wasn't feeling good, so I fell back asleep.
Which is rare for you.
Which is very rare for me in the morning. And I woke up and I had this dream of I had a pet dog, Beagle, when I was a kid, and it was my dog. It was, we were really close, and it ended up, as it got older, Beagles are prone to be obese, so it fell in the pool, it couldn't get out during the night, and basically it drowned. And so, didn't find that out until years later, but I never had a chance to say goodbye. Well, in my dream, my dog came to me, and I was able to reconcile that. And so I think through that experience I had the night before, I was able to do that. Go back into the past, which are, you hear a lot, is happening at the same moment, as present moment. Is just consciously we can't process it, so maybe we have to do it subconsciously. So I was able to say my goodbye and reconcile it. So I think what we do now in present life is very, very important to achieving our dreams. And directing our dreams. So be conscious of it. All your conscious actions are going to have a really profound effect on your dreams. Your subconscious.
So I'm so happy that you were able to experience that, because I know that you have been frustrated of not being able to remember your dreams. So that's
Right.
such a beautiful experience for you.
Definitely.
Cool. For me, it's only been recently that I'm actually experiencing dreams in a more meaningful way. So it felt like for most of my life, my dreams were more of a place where my subconscious did some dumping, or, maybe even working out some charges or things like that, fears coming up, those dreams you have where you miss the exam and you don't graduate, things like that. I had a lot of
Get on the bus in just your underwear, those kind of things.
yeah, goofy stuff, which I just fears and things. But I've noticed lately, as I've had a shift spiritually, that my dreams are becoming much more significant to me. Where I'm actually feeling like I'm getting guidance from the universe, and I'm getting messages that are useful to me in my current life. I can't say I'm having these multiple universe experiences, which really sounds very cool. I hope I experienced that. But at the moment, I'm waking, I wake up excited now, knowing oh my God, I had one of those cool dreams. So I definitely think our dreams, they are definitely some kind of, a tunnel, some way that we communicate with our divine, our higher self, with the universe, whatever you want to call it. And I think the more we experience it, we can really start expanding on it. It's almost like a practice.
I'll just expand one more thing on dreams that I feel just by being with these groups that I've been in recently is people talk about meditation. I've been doing a lot of meditation. And to me, dreaming is the ultimate meditation, where your total physical conscious is gone. So you're able to meditate not knowing you're meditating.
Right.
Whereas when you're meditating in a conscious state, you're going back into an unconscious state. So I think that's why the dream state can be so different for everybody. Because when you really meditate, you can go into so many different worlds in your own meditations. And I think people are learning to, if you want to, you can learn to channel your dreams into realities and other things like that. And And that, to me, if I really had the time and effort to do it, I would love to really channel dreams and practice dreaming my own dreams of what I want. And it's all the same thing as meditating. You meditate and you put yourself into a world of divine inspiration where you can create your life that way. And that's why I like to hang out with you guys, because that's really fun for me to get out of the rat race once in a while and to get into myself and into my body and mind to feel good. And that's why I continue to try to learn new things and get new ideas and utilize what I do know of myself and to play off of that. So thank you for having us, Michelle.
Thank you very much. So we'll be doing this 100th Monkey show, 100th Monkey experiment every Monday. And it'll be live on the air at somewhere after 9, hopefully 11 minutes after 9. If all goes well, we'll have a regular time slot without delays. But the whole idea is we'll be having different people each week from different walks of life with different opinions and different spiritual awakenings, if you want to say, or awareness and levels of consciousness. So people who are searching, we can be here to assist them. Those of us who've been doing this for a while can take the strength of one another to continue forward. But we'll be asking different questions each week, bringing in special guests to ask us questions, having the audience ask us questions. So it's going to be different each time. We call it a stream of consciousness show, a real live reality show, not prepackaged for you, not only taking the juicy bits out for you, spitting it at you, psychologically dragging you down a certain path. No, that's not what's happening here. Thank God.
Darn.
It's like being back in college. You sit around, get stoned, and talk to people, and you start bringing up all this philosophical stuff. And,
So
and
how
I think
many
as
times-
adults
We're not
now,
stoned.
but now as adults, you're doing this as adults. Being actually been through life now. When you're
Yes.
younger, you think of what life should be and what it's going to be, and as you get older, you've had some more experience. And I think that at this stage in life, a lot of people have been around the block a few times, and now let's settle down and figure out where we're going to go in the next block. So
Right.
I want some of what he has.
It's,
Pass that over here.
it's tea. It is
The
tea.
good thing is that you can replay it tomorrow, so if you forgot anything, you can,
And that's a good thing, 'cause a lot of times you definitely can, kind of have so much intense conversations, you want to digest it. It takes a
Right.
while, and
So
to
now you can.
rehash it, listen to it again, and stay in touch with each other and enhance on some of the stuff we're talking about. We'll get together on our parallel dreams, dude.
That's
Right.
right.
We'll finish that
It may
book.
not look like
Well,
this.
we're
Finish that
exploring
book.
dreams and collective consciousness and how we can really do that by, some of you have been to the Dream Home event. Lauren,
Yes.
Michael, and Susan have all experienced the Dream Home, which is a collective lucid dreaming event. So, the last one.
Oh, I missed that one.
The last one we did, I've been still taking everyone's request, all their intents at night into the dream world with me to intensify the intention for everyone, whatever it is they are needing. So it's a beautiful thing to be able to do that as an individual each night, to go beyond and beside myself and think about others as I enter in that dream state. So we hope that you become a regular audience and stay tuned each Monday night to find out what's going to happen next on the 100th Monkey Experiment. But thank you all for being here live in the studio, and thank you for those of you listening. See you next week.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you.
And cut. Let us know.